little bit of these. So when we're finding the roots, we need to set y equal to 0 and then factor. So we factor this, 3 and 1. So you set that equal to 0, you get -1. You set that equal to 0, you get -3. And so we have here at -1 and -3, the vertex has to be exactly in between them. So that will be at -2. For the x value, we plug that in. We have 4 minus 8 plus 3. That's -8 plus 7, which is -1. So the vertex is at -2, -1. We already plugged in -1 and -3. We now need to plug in one more point. So we plug in 0. We plug in 0, we get 3. So that means at -4, it must also be at 3. So that would be our pretty little picture. Okay, let's look at B. B, we're going to factor again. X plus -3 and 1. Because I set y equal to 0 to solve. I set that equal to 0, I get -3. I set that equal to 0, I get 1. So I have 1 at 1 to -3 and 1 at 1. And so at -1 would be exactly in the middle. So I plug that in here. I get 1 minus 2 minus 3, which is 1 minus 5, which is -4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I need to plug in 2 right next to it, so I'm going to plug in 0, which will give me -3. That's easy. And if that's true, then -2 is also going to give me -3. If you don't believe me, try it. And then we also already had our -1, 0, and our -3, 0. So we've got 5 points to make a perfect little parabola graph. All right, for this one here, we need to first factor out 3x. When we factor out you set y equal to 0 first. You always do that to find the roots, because these are the zeros. So we factor out a 3x, we're left with x minus 2. So we set this equal to 0, and we get 0. We set this equal to 0, we get 2. So we have a point at 0, 0, and a point at 2, 0. So I now need to plug in 1, because halfway in between is going to be my vertex. Not at -1, but +1. And I plug that in. I get what? 3 minus 6 is -3. 1, 2, 3. And then I already had my 0, 0, and my 2, 0. So now I need to plug in either my -1 or my 3. I'll plug in -1 here. That gives me 3 plus 6, which is 9. So way to whoop-de-doo up here. Got this nice steep looking graph there. Alright, last one. Plug in 0 for y, you get x minus 2, x plus 2. So you get 0 for the y. This gives me a +2. This gives me a -2 when I plug them in. So I have a -2 and a +2. So 0 is right in between it. That must be my x value. I plug it in here. So y equals 0 squared minus 4. I get -4 as my point. So I had 0, -4. I do need to plug in 1 or -1, either one. When I plug in 1, I do get -3. And I already had 2 and -2. So I have my 5 points for my pretty little graph.